I kind of wanted to record this message since it's still kind of fresh in my mind. Uh, it's about my near death experience. I suppose it's time to talk about it. Again, I want to just kind of start the message off. If you're having any sort of struggles with like suicidal ideation, hopelessness, all that type of stuff, reach out to a loved one. Reach out to a anonymous help number 988. I mean, do whatever you need to do to get help, because you deserve to be on this planet, and you would be sorely missed. And I just need you to know that. And I wasn't struggling with that. I really haven't struggled with that despite everything. Um, so I can't really, I don't really have a story to tell there, and I want to be honest about that. Um, that is my truth. Is I really, I think it's important to say it that I went through some terrible things, and I never really felt that way. Um, and that's, so it's hard for me to just, I want it to be clear that that's how I feel, so that if anybody wants to talk to me, that they kind of understand my perspective, because I still want to be myself, and I don't really have to, don't have to explain myself. Um, but I've never really been a suicidal person. Um, I've just never really had suicidal tendencies or self-harming tendencies. Um, that just wasn't part of my life, and I'm glad it wasn't. But I can't really, I can relate to it. I've just never personally thought of it as a healthy thing to do, and something that I wanted to do to feel better. But I understand that some people do it, and if you're in that position, get some help, because it doesn't seem like something that I think God wants us to have to go through for very long. He wants you to get out of it, and so you got to move in that direction. Though it's only you that can do it. So please, do the healing that you need to do, because it feels really good to heal. As someone who is currently doing that, kind of each and every single time I press record, I'm healing, and it feels good. So I'm just going to keep doing that. That's my process. So I don't really normally do drugs or anything like that. I've kind of lost track already. I've lost my train of thought a little bit. So forgive me. I'm sorry, but that's kind of my whole thing. This is a train of thought, essentially a passing thought. So that's the nature of this shit sometimes. But at some point in my life, recently, about a month ago, I had a near-death experience where I overdosed on drugs. Um, and so I think there's so many interesting things that I felt during that time, that I felt like I was meant to feel, um, in order to come to the point that I'm at now. And I feel like it was a moment of awakening for me, truly. Even though I, kind of took some time to process it. There's just, once you have a near death experience, and you think that this is the end of my life. Um, well, I wasn't ever feeling this way before in my life. So it was the first time I believed it was truly going to happen to me. So I really do feel like I stared down my own mortality, and I realized that I was okay with just going. But I just thought it was really fucking embarrassing. But it kind of killed me. But I thought also, even as I was like, quote unquote, dying in my mind, I kind of thought of how funny it was that I was just the guy with no friends who worked all his life, got fired, and killed himself. I couldn't find anything but hilarity in that idea, and that as I was dying, that was my end, and I find nothing but hilarity in it now. But of course, it's paired with extreme embarrassment that I fucking did that. But so why can't I? So I have no choice but to tell you this story. So anyway, um, the actual experience of it though is on overdosing on dextromethorphan. What it feels like essentially is your heart and breathing just start to get affected, and it's not in a way that I've ever experienced on alcohol. Um, you kind of really start to pull out of your body. It's not like I didn't really experience out of body experience per se, but you just feel like you sink into the couch, and it, like where you are and where the couch is suddenly way fucking spread out. And that's just part of the high experience a little bit. But when I experienced this overdose, my perception was so askew that this is kind of what I experienced. As I, sunk down into the couch, and my ability to move and my ability to breathe was restricted. I found myself, I was playing a game at the time. I stopped playing the game and I just started sitting upright and breathing. Very deliberate, for, some, like, the overall experience from like beginning to end is the timeline of events is, at like 1 a.m. I wake up, I take the substance. I take probably something like 6 or 7 times the recommended dose, because that seems to be like the spot that I wanted to go at, based on my understanding of the drug. So it was like probably say 50% higher than I had normally ever done. For about 3 hours, so it's maybe 2 a.m., I, start feeling the effects, but don't really start feeling the effects. So I take a little more. And then by 6 a.m., I think I should have just stayed with what I originally took. But because I bumped a couple extra in, I don't exactly remember how much I took, but I increased it by another 2 or 3 times recommended, dose, right? And anyway, it was way too much of the drug apparently for what I should have been taking, right? For my level of trip, and so I'm fucking tripping balls, And there's about, probably when I start feeling these really, really negative effects is about maybe 4 a.m. So about an hour after I take the secondary dose, or something like that. So about 4 a.m. So I'm on the drug for, in total, about 5 hours now, 6 hours now. And the stronger stuff is starting to kick in now. And bro, my body starts to, in my mind, shut down. Like, I really think I'm like an organ failure. I'm not, okay? I'm just a dude whose heart's probably beating at like 120, 130. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of sitting on my couch and my heart's beating like, I don't know, whatever it was. I wasn't wearing a watch. I was really interested in what my heart rate actually was during this time of delusion. When I got to the hospital, it was like in the 90s, I think, by then. I think when I was in the ambulance, it was in the hundreds. I don't remember. I just don't know. The point is that I was thinking I was dying because, your perception's so askewed. But all they really were going to do was like hook me up to some fluids. And that's exactly what they did. They're like, give this guy some fluids and I think like a calcium. I don't know. They said like more magnesium or something. They were like, oh, those levels were low. So we gave you a fucking magnesium drip. I'm like, dude, really? Yeah. Like 6 hours later, they released me and I went home. I'm like, okay. But I thought I was going to die. So let's talk about those things. So probably for about at 4 a.m., I start really feeling the effects of this is fucking unusual. This is not what I signed up for, Chief. And I'm really unlike, like, dude, fucking manual mode engaged in every single little thing. I'm fucking, way more impacted motorly, motor skill wise than when I've been drunk. And, and the main thing is like breathing mode is all manual now. Like, and that's my full-time job. I'm not really enjoying, like, if I had a movie on or whatever I was doing during this, like, next little time, like a 2-hour period before I called 911. It was all like, it was so fucked up and it was not feeling good. And it in fact started to feel horrible. And extremely painful, to kind of just, well, not painful, I suppose, but it was just super unpleasant. I really just felt it was death creeping in slowly, and but when the body shuts down, it's like a biological process, and kind of the ways I've felt it been depicted, in media was happening to me, and it is highly unpleasant, I'll say, to go through basically detox or whatever the fuck, whenever your kidneys and liver or whatever are just flushing this shit out of your system because you've oversaturated it, and so your brain is all fucking crazy. Um, and you just got to kind of sit through it. And I'll tell you, there's a staircase that you fall down, uh, where distinctly you feel waves wash over you, waves of change, and there's I don't know how many levels of it, but it felt like there was probably like 40 or 50 layer shifts, like significantly lower shifts downwards, and they would happen every 2 or 3 minutes. Um, and every single one of them felt like you were just one more step closer to death. And you've never felt these sensations, all 52 levels of it. You've never felt a single one of them before this moment in your life. So I'm experiencing all of this stuff physically. So those are kind of the physical symptoms of this overdose. Is tachycardia, respiratory kind of arrest, or just kind of labored breathing really, and just my heart rate basically all fucking jacked up, hot and cold flashes, weakness. Kind of, I had to crawl around when I was going to fucking the front door. I crawled to the front door, not walked, like I was weak physically. Like there was a lot of, I was fucking about to die, bro. Anyway, so I'm kind of riding that escalator down. Let's say it's 50 stairs long. Once I get to like stair 15, I have no idea how many stairs there are, bro, but I decide that, the way my vision is and the way the room is moving, that I told my brother this, like the scariest moment of my life was when I decided to call the ambulance. And I've never truly understood the word surreal until this moment. Surreal just kind of was I thought I knew what it meant, but this was surreal. I was reaching for my phone and I was calling 911, and those crazy bastards at like fucking Samsung or maybe all these phone companies do it. When you dial 911, the fucking screen goes bright red, and it all feels like a hilarious joke that's being played on you. You're like no way they decided to make the fucking 911 call bright red. And because it's just kind of like horrifying in this moment, because you have to understand, my setting here is like, once I'm playing a game, I start to fucking manually breathe. I'm panicking, and I start like, with my strength is like dwindling. I'm starting to talk to imagine, I'm starting to make peace with God, and I'm starting to kind of review my life, and I'm turning all the lights off, and I'm sitting on the floor of my living room, and I'm just breathing. And after about 30 minutes, this is when you call the police. And you say that I don't think if I wait any longer, I think this might actually just be something I can't push through physically. Physically, you're starting to feel so weak that you've never felt that. You're a strong person. That's who I am. I'm strong. I genuinely am. You can't tell me otherwise. I've felt the weakest feeling I've ever felt, and I thought that weakness would lead to death. And there's a lot, I think, that could be said about this that's very interesting. Because I'm sure that there's a lot of non-believers who are scared because all the believers have convinced them that, death is really scary. So kind of, I just continue with the progression of events just to kind of get through it. But once I called 911 and everybody was super professional, I'm I just shout out those guys because it's crazy what they go through. They're on like 24-hour shifts, these paramedic guys, and they just go through fucking who knows what all day long, and those are the fucking strongest people I know. Shout out you guys. Anyway, I was appreciative of all the support I had on the experience. Embarrassing though it was. But they opened my door. My neighbors are out and looking at me, and I'm just like, oh, this is so awkward. But anyway, they take me away. Go to the hospital. They admit me. I'm explaining to the nurses, you know what I mean, dude. And I'm so high that I'm laughing and joking about all of this shit. I'm thinking I'm dying, and I'm just fucking, you know, t- talking shit till the cats come home. Basically that's what, imagine these poor social work, these poor people taking care of me. I'm basically, just yapping my head off probably at these guys, pointing, telling me this is all a fucking simulation, and I was saying some crazy shit, man, and because I'm just completely out of my senses, and I'm explaining. This is how I know I was so healthy, because I was just talking so much shit. But I still also thought I was gonna die, bro. It was so embarrassing. I hope they secretly found it hilarious. But dude, anyway. So the nurses like asked me like, "How do you want me to like, do you want to fucking pull yourself into the other seat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can still do that." And I basically make their lives a little easier, I think, on them, even though I'm basically fucking super hammered. I don't know what you want to call this state of existence, but I was high as fuck and delirious, just completely out of my mind in a way I've never experienced and really don't want to experience again. That shit was fucking nuts. But anyway, all things considered, I kept falling down that staircase for a while, and again, there were several times in that hospital where like, you just never knew which staircase was the last one when you turned to die. But at the same time, nobody ever came to check on me. This is how much the perception was changed. I thought I was just like being neglected until death, and I thought that would be also super sad and ironic. Like I'm secretly falling down this train, and my heart monitor's like not attached or something, and these guys just didn't fucking bother to check on me, and then I expired. But anyway, none of that was really the case. I was just fucking. I just had to kind of wait it out. That's just kind of how these overdoses go sometimes. But yeah, so I kind of come down from it, and after about I don't know, we started at 1 a.m. Ambulance was called about 6 a.m. And I think I got discharged from the hospital around noon. So all in all, the experience is it's about exactly 12 hours. I think it was like probably maybe noon to 1 o'clock when I was getting getting in an Uber and going home. You know what I mean? Very short and sweet experience, all things considered. But the things that I take away from the near death experience is that I really I didn't feel as scared as I thought I would, but I did kind of briefly reach out to the previous Christian God. I would actually say, is I like thought about him again in some of those moments, but I didn't dwell very long, and I didn't like fully. I guess I would say what the Christians would say, repent. So if I died, I probably wouldn't have qualified, so to speak. I kind of was just like, yo, if you're really real, fucking just forgive me, bro. And that's pretty much summed it up. And I do feel like, again, I feel like that God is still actually my God in its own way, but so that he still is cool with what I did. But the things that kind of make me sad, and I don't want you ever to have to feel this sadness, because it's a heartbreaking type of sadness, as that was what I felt. When it was all said and done, I never texted anybody about this. That's the level of it took me a month to open up about this to somebody, and tell them that. And that's just a hard thing to go through, and it felt so much better to stop and tell that story. Like just going through it alone is, you might think it's strong. In a way you are, but it's easier to be weak. Just be weak and be yourself, and people will help you then. You cannot get helped alone. Being strong it's admirable, and maybe there are times when you need strength to get through something, but there are times when you can just be weak, and other people can be your strength. And anyway, whatever this topic was, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it.